So then that goes back then, Jules, I'd be interested. My first question to Luis is that enough that this is a team that keeps winning? Maybe they will have to scrape through, but that's okay. That could just happen with this team. Is Messi enough?
Yeah, I think he can be enough. He's Messi, so of course he's enough. I just think there might be a time where their pressing has to be better and sharper and more efficient. They will have to deal with a press that is better than anything they've seen so far in this World Cup. And I'm still convinced, and we talked about with Herc when we were watching the game, and said he was, if Mexico had pressed that team more, if Mexico had played on the front foot instead of taking a step back and playing really deep, I think Mexico could have caused problems to this Argentina side, a bit like the Saudis did in the first game. So I think there's still a lot of things for them to sort out, but Messi can carry them all the way. There's no doubt. He did it in 2014 with a squad that was not as good as this one. So of course he can, even if he was younger then, of course. But yeah, he can make it happen. I do think that at some point people will have to start playing at the same level as him, which is not the case now.
Go on, Sebi.
I think there's a point to be made here about Argentina. I think they might be at their best when they suffer. Like when I think of that 2014 run, I don't necessarily think of beautiful football. That the semifinal against the Dutch in that tournament was for me one of like the worst big games that I've ever remembered seeing. I think though, what we kind of have to point out about Messi, and I know it's harsh to say like he can't do it himself because he's proven us, for so long. In 2014, he drags his team to the final. They're not creating chances. It's not like Messi is setting guys up and there's a lot of shots on goal. Jules, we were watching the game. Well, there's one shot on goal for Argentina in that first half. Yeah. I mean, that's not enough. That's not enough. Whether Messi's the only guy doing it or the other guys need to contribute. Like this team is not dangerous enough. And if you can't be dangerous enough with 61% of the ball, I'm looking at the stats here, against Australia, how are you going to generate opportunities in mass as the opposition gets better and better throughout the tournament? So for me, I think Messi is clearly capable of dragging this team this far, but I don't know. I think when you get up against better competition, it's going to be tough. And I think of some of the Argentine teams that have played amazing in World Cups. Jules, we were talking about it. Like there's some examples of 2006 that stand out. Those teams didn't get as far as the 2014. So I think it's somewhat in the DNA to suffer. But to suffer this much against Australia, not just in terms of Australia could have tied this thing late, but Argentina with so much of the ball was pretty toothless. And again, Jules made the comp to the Mexico game. Mexico literally handed Argentina the ball. They almost forfeited possession entirely in that match. And in that first game, it wasn't Memo Ochoa making a million saves, hanging on, defensive, drastic clearances. It was Argentina having the ball, but not creating and not being dangerous. And I just can't see that not being a problem moving forward.
Sorry, let me jump in quickly. What they have, though, and we have the screen here, we have plenty of screen in the studio. They're still on the pitch right now. All those players jumping and singing and celebrating with the fans. And I think maybe the big difference that they might have with other generations before, other squad at World Cups before, is this incredible team spirit. Whether they're all doing it for Messi, I don't know, but it clearly is like the Godfather, and they're all behind him. But the support they have here in Qatar is unbelievable. And I think this gives you more energy, it gives you more belief, it gives you everything more than a team like, I don't know, another team that just has 2,000 fans who are here somewhere. And I think that team spirit is something huge, is something massive that I think Scaloni has cultivated in a way, has made it so big and so important. And we see them again, they're still on the pitch and the game is finished maybe a good half an hour ago now or 20 minutes ago. And they're still there singing with their own fans. And I think that also can take them far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the beginning of this game, when they were singing the national anthem, it felt like it was Buenos Aires, El Monumental or Bombonera. Like you could feel the crowd. You could feel even here, right here in New York City, when you're watching, you can see that feeling. And actually, that's something that Scaloni has pointed out at the very beginning of his managerial career with the senior team. He's been there in the youth developmental system. Of course, he wants to build that culture, not just about Lionel Messi, but about creating this collective family that I think hopefully can take them far. The question will be if they can do it. Some stats for you, everybody. I mean, Lionel Messi ties now Paolo Maldini for the third most matches played in a World Cup. Okay, so if he makes it all the way to the final, he will be the most capped player in World Cup history, which is pretty remarkable. And he scores his 9th World Cup goal and his first, as Sebi was saying, his first goal in the knockout stages as well. So that's pretty pretty remarkable. Whether you're doing it for Lionel Messi, you're doing it for Argentina, or both, it's clear that this Argentina side, just like Jules said, they have to all be together in order to keep on going. Because I tell you what, Louis van Gaal is watching these emotions. He's watching all the crowds. He's watching all the Argentinians singing. Louis van Gaal is just sitting there going, all right, let's see what you have. We'll come right back at you.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.